And I'm here with my friend Ory Ortega, and we've known each other since 2008. We did the
Yeah,
commercials, and that was back in Vegas in 2000. Yeah, 2008. That was 12 years ago, and we were just talking about how we're making the time during this pandemic work for us. I mean, pretty much everyone's on lockdown all over the world, and we're starting to ease up on that now. We're seeing less restrictions in Vegas, and I don't know what it's like in Panama. I'll ask you that in a second. But for the last 2.5 months, most of us have been at home for the most part. So what's going on in Panama right now? Or has there been an ease on restrictions, or are you basically
yeah,
sheltering in place most of the time?
yeah. Actually, this week we started to open up a little bit more. Started a little bit last week, but this week, um, like we can go out at any time because they actually we started our lockdown down here. I believe it was March 15th,
Right.
and from then like men could get out at a specific hour, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and women on Mondays and Wednesdays, I think. And we've been doing that till last week, that they opened up a little bit more, and then this week, now you can go out freely. There is a curfew. There is a curfew from 7 p.m. till 6 a.m., I think.
Right.
Um, yeah, and a few businesses are opening, but mostly, uh, stuff that doesn't have to deal with people. And so they're talking about our gyms, like being able to open the gyms, I believe, like at the end of next month or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, but well, people now they can go out and at least go out and run and train outside. So it's cool. Like where I live, I live in a residential area that we have, football. We have tennis courts, basketball courts, and so I can do a lot of stuff without going out in the
Right.
street. So it's safe here that way. But yeah, it's starting to ease up. But we got to see what happens, like how people behave, because you know a lot of people want to talk about all the conspiracies and all that stuff. The reality is the virus is here. I know a lot of people that caught it. Actually, my mom's best friend, she lives in Rome, Italy, and she, I believe it was like a month and a half ago, she was at the hospital for like 2.5 weeks. Her husband um, actually was in intensive care for 2 weeks, because I think she could be like my mom, maybe like 69 or 68, and her husband is older than my dad, so he should be like 75.
Yeah.
So they got a real scared, and so the virus exists, is
No.
there. um, but on the other hand, now taking care of our bodies has helped us, because I'm pretty sure, like, a girl that's a triathlete that trains with us at the gym, she caught it, right? And so what I'm guessing is maybe the last week that we were still working, she already had it.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's no doubt in my mind that I was exposed to it, but that's where taking care of our bodies and having a strong immune system comes
Yeah.
in.
Absolutely.
Because my kids, it's the same thing. Like, they were at school, and this thing, happening out there, who knows for how long. And because the first person that died from COVID down here in Panama died like in February the 23rd or
Yeah.
24th. So,
Yeah.
well, we have been here for a while, and that's the importance of having a strong immune system. And I have
Yeah.
no doubt that my kids were exposed to it. A lot of the guys at the gym were exposed to it, but none caught it. And the girl that caught it, she's a triathlete, and you know how like ultra marathoners or marathon runners or triathletes, they usually, you know, they put their body into so much stress.
Oh yeah.
And they usually don't recover enough. So actually I know a lot of people that are either marathon runners or triathletes that caught COVID down here in Panama. So it's pretty interesting, you know, because you see the correlation there.
Right.
That, you know, it didn't happen to none of the guys I know that trained, you know, with weights and like you and I train.
Right.
But it did happen to all these people that, you know, train a little bit more, you know, that they put their bodies into more stress. Right. And don't work so hard on their recovery. So it's, you know, that's one of the things that I was keeping an eye on, because, you know, you always want to like learn something from what's going on, and that's something I picked up right away. It was funny that I started hearing about all these triathletes getting COVID, and people like you and I didn't get it. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And like you said, that style of training puts a lot of stress on your body. Even if you do a lot of things right to take care of recovery, you're just constantly surging in cortisol, your immune system's working overtime. So you're definitely going to be more susceptible. I think one of the lessons that, especially in America, we're a very unhealthy country overall. And that's one of the reasons why we've had so many deaths, and especially in concentrated areas such as New York City. I think the thing with this virus is it's real, like you said. It appears to be very contagious, but the ideal situation is if it's very contagious. I mean, the ideal situation is you don't get it at all. But the second ideal situation would be you have a very strong immune system so that even if you do get it, you're asymptomatic or have very mild symptoms. Now, the problem there is you can still spread it to others, but hopefully they're healthy as well. So they also have mild symptoms. Because if everybody's healthy and we all have mild symptoms, then it's not that big of a deal. But when a population, and when a large percentage of the population is very unhealthy, where they have underlying health conditions, high blood pressure and heart disease and diabetes and weakened immune systems, then it can be lethal for those people. But is it lethal because of the virus, or is it lethal because they're already a ticking bomb? They already have so many things going on. If it wasn't this, it could be something else that puts you over. A lot of people walk around with really high blood pressure, and they've just gotten used to it. They don't think about it. Even people that think they're health conscious. So it's one of those things where I actually had speaking of the virus, I had a horrible case of pneumonia last year, about a year ago, around March. And this is the second time I've had pneumonia in 18 years. The first time I had it was a long time ago. It became lethal. My lungs got filled with bacteria. Yeah, I've told that story a few times. Now, the second time it happened was last year, and it started off as a flu. I mean, a terrible flu. You just feel like crap. You have no appetite. Nothing tastes good. You're tired all the time. And then it migrated or transformed into pneumonia, a bacterial infection. So then my respiratory system got hit really hard. So long story short, I got on antibiotics. I did all the things that I had to do to recover. And fortunately, I was able to have a medical team come to my house. I didn't have to go to an emergency room. And that's one thing I tried to tell people as well. I go, sign up for this company called Dispatch Health here in America. Just put this app in your phone, because if you need to go to the emergency room, you want to use this option first. Let them come to you. You don't want to go to the emergency room and you don't even have the virus, but you think you do. But now you have it because you went there and you got exposed. So you want to avoid that at all costs. But my respiratory system took a long time to recover from this nasty flu/pneumonia. I mean, my strength came back fairly fast because I was only out for a couple of weeks. So strength training, I started gelling into that, no problem. But respiratory system, I was tired for a long time. Just walking around the block with my dogs, I'd be tired. I had this lingering cough that went on for a long time. So I don't think I had the virus necessarily, but I had a lot of the symptoms that we hear reported. So I understand how serious it can be, because I'm a healthy person and I got hit by this really hard. So imagine someone who's unhealthy who got hit by what I got hit last year. And a lot of people did, and people die from the flu every year.
Yeah, they do.
So we have to take charge of our health. I think that's the message that we're not seeing get across enough. We're hearing wear a mask, do social distancing, disinfect. Fine. That's all fine and good. We should wash our hands. The fact that we have to tell people that's scary. But as you know, if you've ever been to a men's room, probably about 90% of the guys don't wash their hands. They just walk right out. Okay. And I think more men are getting it. One article said more men, the infection rate with men is way higher than women. I go, well, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, at all.
Because men are nasty. They don't wash their hands. Some men don't even take a shower every day, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that's happening. But what we don't hear is, hey, maybe it's time to start eating a healthy diet. I see people walking around with the masks who are 80 pounds overweight. And that's great. I'm glad you're wearing a mask if you think it makes you feel better. But why don't you try eating a healthy meal every once in a while? Why don't you try being more active? And especially during this 2.5 months where most of America was locked down, a couple of places eased restrictions a while ago. Vegas is starting to ease restrictions now. And we could leave our house. It was different than what you guys were dealing with. That was way more restrictive. Here, I mean, I left the house every day. I went to the park every day with my dogs. If I wanted to go to the grocery store every day, I could have done that. But there wasn't any restriction on, okay, you can only go at this time. And if you're a man, you go at this time. If you're a woman, you go at this time, et cetera. So we had it a lot easier than a lot of places did. And the town didn't get hit that hard. It's been about 200 deaths. And I don't feel good about anyone dying, but that's a low number compared to the rest of the country, especially New York City and around the world. So I think we probably could have initiated a different plan than, say, New York City or Chicago did. But anyway, that's all in hindsight, so we're not going to worry about that now. But when you're you may never have had the opportunity where you're at home for 2 months and you're not working. And let's say you're getting a stimulus check, you're getting unemployment, and you're going, okay, now what do I do at my time? And what did a lot of people do? They just started binge watching TV, and they're eating junk food all day. And then they're complaining online. They're getting on social media going, when's this going to end, and all that. And the reality is that you had all the time in the world. You could have exercised 3 times a day. You could have at least started walking every day. You could have started going, let me look at my diet because I want to make my immune system as strong as possible. I want to be as healthy as possible because the healthier the population is, the better it is for everyone. So if you care about your neighbor, you want to be healthy. Help your neighbor become healthy. If we're all really healthy, it can still spread. It doesn't mean we're immune to catching it, but the likelihood of having serious symptoms at least drops dramatically.
Definitely. And down here, like one of the things that it was really funny, and you could see it also in the States, is that people ordering Papa John's and people, I mean, that went through the roof.
Yeah.
Everybody was ordering out. I mean, and the other thing was crazy because, like I said, like our lockdown started on March 15th, but I actually closed the gym the week before because, people were not coming to the gym. So money was the other issue. Like you're like, we were like, okay, we don't know how long this is going to take. So you cannot start spending money on, because I know a lot of friends of mine that, since they were at home on vacation, because they were basically watching every series on Netflix, ordering out every day. They were actually shopping. They were buying stuff online. But like our approach was, we don't know what's going to happen. So, let's not waste our money buying out or whatever. So I was the one that was going out, buying a lot of foods for the kids because my kids, they got used, as they're vegan, so they got used to they're used to, if they're hungry, eating a fruit or whatever. So
right.
So it was funny, like me walking around at the grocery store with all types of fruits, and people having their carts filled with Cheetos and Doritos and Coke and Diet Coke, of course.
Right. So much healthier.
So
you have to have that.
So I mean, imagine the unhealthy people got even worse because they were spending, like, before, maybe it was on the weekends or they spend the whole Saturday, the whole Sunday eating shit. Now they were eating shit 24/7, 7
Right.
days a week.
Right.
You know, so I know a lot of people that, I mean, they have easily gained like 30, 40 pounds
Yeah.
during this 2 months, and it's crazy. Like all my clients, they kept on working out with me online. Like to my clients, I actually like some of them, they weren't asking for much. Some of them were like, hey, can you give me 35-pound kettlebell so I can have something to train at home? Okay, take it. Because like some people were renting stuff. I'm like, these are my clients, and these are the guys that, I want them to have my back when I open again, because I know a lot of people are going to be hit. So, that's why I wasn't like renting anything like my rowers, or I was like, hey, I'll take care of you now. Just remember to take care of me when we open. And so they kept on training, and a lot of them, they look great because, like you said, you could train, 2 times a day, eat better. Some people say, well, I cannot do meal prep because I don't have time on Sundays. Well, now you could meal prep, take your time, and have 3-4 days in advance. So I mean, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Like I've written a lot about it. There's no excuse. I mean, usually there's no excuse, but now more than ever, it's like you have all the time in the world.
Right.
And it was funny to me here. Like I saw a lot of people on social media posting stuff like, there's nothing wrong with coming out of this situation without knowing a new skill, without being fitter, yes. I mean, there is something wrong because it says a lot about you.
Yeah.
It says a lot about you because, like, we've never had this time to do whatever we want to do, man.
Right.
Whatever we want to do. I mean, study, watch it. I used to tell people because a lot of the guys, they would write in and they'd be like, hey, what are you doing, man? Hey, I'm tired of this. I can't take it anymore. I'm like, dude, read, watch podcasts, listen to podcasts, write, paint, learn something. I mean, do whatever you do. You have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about people that usually they're not out there running or trail running or rowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are guys that usually don't do anything because I know like a lot of my friends, they do row, surf, and obviously you're like, because it's crazy. I mean, the surf down here has been consistent and amazing for the past 2 months.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
yeah, and people, at least on the beaches that are closer to the city, obviously you couldn't go out there and surf. The beaches that are like 6-7 hours away from the city, people didn't give a fuck, and they're like 2 people in the water and nobody else, so they were surfing.
Right.
But it's funny that surfing has been so amazing, and I understand those guys being upset and thinking like, God damn, man, I wish I could be out there.
Right.
But the other guys that are saying, I have nothing to do, and those guys were not doing anything outside in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
that's right.
Hey, I mean, clean up your act, clean up your life, take care of your body, learn something new, read. I mean, if you're fat, I mean, because I have a client, he's a comedian down here, and he used to weigh like almost 400 pounds, and now he weighs like the same way I have, like 200, 205. Right. And he's a great spokesman for everybody that used to say that, well, I'm fat and I'm happy. He was like, dude, I was the funniest fat guy you could find, and I wasn't happy. And he was like, I wasn't happy because, like, I couldn't get, I had to buy 2 airplane tickets. You know, I couldn't sit down and eat with my family on the same table sometimes because I wouldn't fit there. So I had to get another. So, and like he said, you know, if you know you're fat, because you know you're fat because you start feeling that your clothes don't fit. And if you got into this with 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight, it was a great time to say, you know what, I have to change. Where do I start? You know, and from there, hey, ask, write people. I mean, a lot of people write to me. I don't even know them, and down here in Panama, they follow me or they heard about me, and they write. And a lot of people during this time have just written me a message to ask me, what do I do? You know, they're not even asking for that much. They're just saying, how do I start? You know, so. And then we would get into, okay, how do you eat? You know, how many times do you eat? Okay, start doing this. Because you know how people are. They want to jump right into whatever they want to try. And that's a perfect recipe for disaster because, you know, it takes time. It takes time to change habits, you know? So, like, for me, as a trainer and being in this world, it's been frustrating to read like how people haven't taken advantage of having so much time on their hands. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when the same people that were productive before this found ways to continue to be productive. And the same people that were unproductive and made excuses, it just goes to show that their excuses didn't matter then, and they definitely don't matter now. Because what's the number one excuse we always hear? Oh, I don't have time. It's like, okay, you have all the time in the world now. Yeah, but I'm stressed. It's like, well, that's more reason to exercise. Yeah. No, I got to watch the news for 8 hours. Then I've got to watch a marathon of TV. You know, then I have to complain about it. But I mean, I got an elliptical trainer at the house because I wanted to really work on my respiratory system. So even once this started happening, I go, let me get something because who knows when the gym's going to be open. It's getting hot outside. You know, I can go sprinting. I can do things. But I wanted to make it convenient where I have it at the house. And anytime I want to go do an interval training workout, boom, it's right there. Like right after I talk to you, I can go upstairs, 30 minutes, hit it hard, and I've done it for the day. Even if I don't do anything else, I got that in. And that's made a big difference too because I was very paranoid about making sure my respiratory system was on point. And unfortunately, I was working on that for a while before this happened. But once this really kicked in, I go, now it's even more paramount that I keep the respiratory system as strong as possible. Because, I mean, if you have maximum lung capacity and you get hit, and let's say your lungs get hit, your respiratory system gets hit, it's not going to be pleasant, but you'll survive that. But if you have very limited lung capacity to start with, and then you get hit, that's definitely life-threatening.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I was lucky to have, I've always had here at home a rower and I have a spinning bike. So same thing, like you said, sometimes it's like, oh, well, I haven't done anything today. I just get on the bike and you know, ride it for half an hour, 35 minutes. Or the same thing with the rower.
I'm exercising more now than I was before because I've made it more, because I have everything I need at the house and you have more time in your hands going, okay, let me do a couple more sets today. Let me do some sets throughout the day and work on some stuff.
Yeah.
Let me do interval training 5 times a week instead of just 2 or 3 times because I have the time and I've got plenty of time to sleep. I can get the recovery in.
Yeah, that's important. Sleeping.
So it's all good. And that's the other thing a lot of people have not prioritized is if you don't have optimal sleep, you have no immune system. I mean, if your sleep is horrible, and a lot of people are terrible sleepers, and a lot of trainers, I'm sure you know this, just live off of stimulants, whether they're drinking lots of coffee every day or they're drinking energy drinks, which are all bad. There's really no energy drink that I'm aware of because most of them are super high in caffeine and other stimulants. But the thing is, and I like coffee too, like everybody else, but I don't need coffee for energy because it's not giving you energy. It's just stimulating your central nervous system, but it's not giving you energy the way food does or the way restorative sleep does. So it's something where if your sleep is good and you have a lot of fuel from your nutrition, then the coffee on top of that can be very good for giving you a performance boost. And it feels good too. It's nice to have a cup of coffee in the morning. It's warm, it's inviting, it sets up a good mood for the day. But when you're drinking a pot every day,
Yeah.
or you're drinking energy drinks, and most people I know who are really caffeinated, they don't even get anything off of the caffeine. They just need it to function. They don't really even feel the effects anymore. They're just tired all the time. But the thing about caffeine is this: if I have even one strong cup of coffee right now, and then I work out hard, I'm going to be more fatigued after that workout than if I didn't have the coffee. So that's what people have to keep in mind is you're going to have to allocate more time to recovery, the more stimulated you are. So that there's everything comes with a cost. You go in the credit card debt, you're going to have to pay a lot of interest. That's just a reality. So if you give yourself a lot of fake energy, you're going to have less real energy later on in the day. But the lack of sleep, that one's a tough one for a lot of people. Most people they don't sleep that well.
People always tell me when, you know how it is. Everybody is always like, well, Mike, what can I do to, to get more muscular or whatever? I'm like, sleep more.
Yeah.
Sleep more. I mean, sleeping more is always the number one answer for everything.
So you want less wrinkles, sleep more. You want to age better, sleep more. Look at anyone who's been sleep deprived for a long time. They always look way older than they are. I've seen people our age who look like they're 60 and they're sleep deprived, they're stressed, their diet's poor. And it's all things they can do something about. It doesn't have to be.
Imagine now, like I talk to a lot of my friends and they're like, well, I'm going to bed like at 3 a.m. watching TV. I'm like, if you're not doing anything, some of these guys don't even have kids because, like I said, like I have to, Mia is 9, so she's on her classes by herself, no biggie.
Yeah.
But Kobe is 6, so he's in first grade, so it's different. You have to be there with him, and he's starting to read in Spanish and English.
Very
so
cool.
You know what I mean? So you gotta be there. And I have friends that don't have kids, and I'm like, dude, you can go to bed at 10:30, 11, you can sleep and watch TV during the day.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same to go to bed at 10 and sleep than to go to bed at 4 and sleep. And that's something they don't get.
Right.
They don't get that, it's not like you're living in outer space. There's a cycle, you know what I mean? And they don't get that. So it's funny that something so simple as sleeping, people don't even get it right.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, if you go to sleep at 4 a.m., even if you get 8 hours of sleep, the quality is not going to be the same as if you went to sleep, let's say, no later than midnight. And I'm a late night guy too. I'm usually up until around 1. But I go to sleep. But I go to sleep at 1, wake up at 9 most days, just organically, and I feel good on that. But if I'm up till 2, even if I get 8 hours, I wake up at 10. It's not the same. I feel a little bit off. And I guarantee you, if I went to sleep a little bit earlier, let's say midnight, work it back up to 11, it would be even more beneficial. It's hard to break habits. And so I get, but if you want the optimal performance, then you have to start breaking some of these habits. And the thing also is that you can still watch your favorite show every night. You don't just have to, it doesn't have to just be, okay, I'm going to be productive 24/7. You can still kick back and relax. But my attitude is to me, relaxation has to be earned. So a lot of times I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to kick back today. But before I do that, I'm going to go do that interval training session. Or I'm going to go to the park and I'm going to bang out 10, 15 sprints. Or I'm going to do kettlebell swings in the backyard. I'm going to do something because I need to earn that relaxation. I'm not going to just give myself the relaxation without earning it. And then you feel better. A lot of times you're not even tired anymore too. That's the interesting thing. Sometimes you're tired and you're like, man, I'm too tired to work out. And then you go do a workout and now you're energized. Sometimes you have to push yourself to just reinvigorate yourself. You get to clear your head, get all the cobwebs out.
Yeah. And it's good also to start doing that, to to go through life thinking that, you know what, I'm gonna earn this. You know what I mean? I'm not just gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and it's a great way to live your life. You know, just put those goals and said, okay, I'm gonna do this, but first I'm gonna do this. It's great. It's something that we all should be doing. And yeah, I do that sometimes. I'm like, okay, like 2 weeks ago, I believe we started watching a series, and like I rarely watch. Like I love watching movies. So you sit there, watch it, and that's it.
Yeah, it's over.
You know, the idea of having these marathons and yeah, and especially if you know if it's not like a 6-part series or 8-part series, but you know, you look and there's like 34 episodes. I'm like, no, man, that's not good.
Too much
You know,
commitment.
yeah, man. And no, and you know, you want to go like 15 today, 17 tomorrow, and that's it. You know, so but yeah, we got hooked up on one, and I was like, you know what? I know tonight we're gonna watch that. So before the kid starts school, I'm gonna train, and then in the afternoon I'm gonna do a HIIT workout, and then I'm ready. And that was it. You know, I was like, okay, I earned it.
Yeah.
Sat down
and you enjoy it more. It's much more enjoyable because you know you don't feel like a slob. You don't feel like, oh, I didn't do anything today and now I'm just watching TV all night. You go, no, I got some stuff done, whether it was something for your business or something for yourself. And now you go, okay, now I've earned it. Now I can kick back. And some shows actually, I mean, I've been revisiting 24 as one of my favorite shows.
Oh man.
Going back. Yeah.
I did that. I did that actually.
Sometimes I have it on when I'm doing. Yeah. Sometimes I have it on when I'm doing the elliptical because I love the Jack Bauer character.
Yeah.
So I mean, just watching that show, it gets you more motivated. At least it gets me more motivated as well. Yeah. But this shows you how bipolar my brain is because I've been watching it in this completely out of order scenario. So I watched season 8, then I watched season 9, then I went back and watched season 3. You know, then I watched season 2 because it's interesting to watch it like that because you know what's going to happen to this character. You see where it's going. So when you go back before all that stuff happened, you're like, wow, look how different it was. You know, look how different the mentality was before all these series of events happened.
Yeah. 24 to me is like I was hooked into it, man, and actually I know a lot of people that at the time they didn't watch it, and I'm like, dude, stop watching whatever it is you're watching. Go watch 24.
Yeah.
Like that's like to me that's the original you know, super TV series, you know. And the character was just amazing. Like Jack was
such a great Sutherland and just such a great. You know what's funny about Kiefer Sutherland? He's also a singer. He's a country singer, and he's good. He's really good, man. I think he was supposed to come here before this whole thing happened. I think the show's but I wanted to see it because he comes to Vegas fairly often and he plays in fairly small venues. So I wanted to see it just for the sake of seeing it. And I like the music too, but I'm a big fan of Kiefer Sutherland, and this is an opportunity to see him up close in a small venue doing his thing. So I like seeing people that are very talented and also very industrious doing a lot of interesting things because I find that motivating. He could have easily just said, hey, I'm a great actor. I'm just going to keep working on that. But he goes, hey, I have a big interest in music as well. And I knew he was behind the scenes in the music industry. I think he was managing some bands and so forth. So I knew he had an interest in it. I had no idea that he had any talent, though, musically, or any aspirations even to be in a band. And then he started putting out music, and I go, at first it's kind of funny because you can hear his voice. You're like, hey, this is Jack Bauer singing. It's like Jack Bauer's undercover as a country singer. If they ever bring 24 back, they got to work that in the show somehow. You know? And then you're like, wait a minute, this guy's pretty damn good. You know, he's really good at this. So I get I get very motivated whenever I see people doing anything exceptional, whether it's someone's really good at gymnastics or someone's a great MMA fighter or someone wrote a great book, someone gave an excellent speech. I think it's good to be around excellence. And if you don't have excellence, let's say with people that you know personally, then you have to find excellence through whatever means you can. And I think one of the biggest things that holds people back is this mentality of nothing works. Like, I'm not going to try that. It's not going to work. I remember when I first started in the business, I got fired from the last job I ever had. And I was actually starting my business at that job. Maybe that's why I got fired. I was busy working on my business. But anyway, I did a couple of interviews with people and I wrote a couple of articles for T Nation. And this was before I got into the business full time.
Yeah.
But I remember when I contacted Frank Shamrock through his website and I said, I'd love to interview you for publication. Now, remember, I had no website at this time and no name. I wasn't someone that anyone knew. And I didn't even have any connections for where I would get this published, but I just put it out there. And he got back to me maybe within a day and he said, yeah, sure, let's talk on this time. And my motivation went through the roof. I was like, wow, that actually worked. And then I would tell people, I go, yeah, one of the networking strategies I'm doing is I'm interviewing people that I'm fans of. They're like, well, how do you get in contact with these people? I was like, I just go to their website. I send them an email and just say what my intentions are and where I want to go with this. They're like, oh, that actually works. I was like, yeah. It works. You'd be surprised what works. But that incredulous response of that works, most people's worst enemy, it's not society, it's not their friends, it's not their family, it's themselves. They just constantly reject themselves. You don't even give someone else a chance to reject you. It's like someone go, oh yeah, I should ask her out on a date. It's like, nah, she's not going to be interested. Why would she be interested in me? It's like, well, now you're never going to know. At least if you asked her and she said, no, I'm not interested, at least you know.
Yeah,
at least you tried.
You know what? Chris Rock hosted, I don't know if it was like MTV Awards or something like that, way back.
Yeah.
And he was doing his monologue, and then he started smiling, and he saw Janet Jackson, and he said, damn, Janet. Damn, you're going out with Jermaine Dupri. If I would have known I had a chance, I would have called you a long time ago. I mean,
he put himself out there. He tried.
Yeah.
There's a lesson to be learned in that. But here's the thing is when I would tell people about this interview thing, they're like, some people would be like, oh, that sounds really cool, but they never did anything with it. Other friends of mine that were trying to get into the business. And I go, look, I'm not trying to say I have a 100% success rate. It's not like every single person I email is going, yeah, I'd love to do an interview with you. Some people you never heard from. Some people said, look, I'm not interested. And that's all fine and good. It's a numbers game. But you only need a few for it to really make a difference. And the Frank Shamrock one was an important one for me because I was a huge fan of his at the time. He just finished his tenure as the UFC middleweight champion. I think he was in semi-retirement or he was about to fight in Japan. So it was actually a good time to contact him because not a lot of people were contacting him because they didn't really know what he was doing at that time. It'd be different if he were at the peak of his success. But even then, it's still worth a try because you never know.
Yeah.
But once I did that call with him, I go, man, this was awesome. We had a great conversation. I know I can make this whole business thing work. You got to have that early success, whatever you're doing. So let's say you have a client and like this one guy you're talking about, he's 400 pounds overweight. And let's say some people have just no energy and they're asking you, how do I start? And you say, here's what you're going to do. I want you to go walk a mile every single day without fail. If you have to split it up, fine. Half a mile, half a mile. But every day, no matter what, you get that 1 mile walk in. Now, what's going to happen after probably even one day, they're already going to feel better because anytime I need a mood boost, I go for a walk and I always feel better. So they're getting fresh air, they're moving around, and they're actually doing something. So whenever you actually take action, that's already motivating. Then you start getting some of the benefits. You start losing a little bit of weight. You start noticing it's easier. I'm not breathing as hard now. Now I can walk 2 miles. So you're getting these early markers of success, and that's really important. Whenever I used to do private sessions with someone, let's say they're doing kettlebells for the first time and they're banging up their wrist and everything is frustrating to them. They're having a hard time with it. I go, let's break it down to a move that I know you can do. whether it's a stiff-legged deadlift with a hip thrust, whether it's a kettlebell swing with 2 hands on the bell, you're going to have some success before the session's over. And then that's going to motivate you rather than let's just try to have you do a bunch of things that you're going to have a hard time with. And then you're going to leave going, forget kettlebells. I don't want to do that again. That wasn't fun at all. So I think it's important in a variety of contexts, but I'm always amazed of this self-rejection attitude. It's something I've been thinking about a lot, because so many people you talk to, you give them advice and they're going, nah, that's not going to work. It's like, really, based on what? Based on your expertise as someone who has tried? So I think that's the mentality that people really have to get over, is this notion of self-rejection, just rejecting yourself before you even give yourself a chance.
Yeah, like I told you, when I decided doing this, and this is something that I wanted to do since last year. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to start, recording all these people, like you said. People are, I'm a fan of their work, what they do, and it's mostly mindset. Like it's people that I love how they think.
Yeah.
Because they can be a more successful MMA fighter, but to me, it's always about the story behind the people. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna start. Like, I have a list. I'm gonna start with the people I know that are gonna say yes. Obviously,
right.
I'm not even counting on that, because I know like they're the good friends or they love to talk. So either way, they're in. And then I said, okay, there are a few people that I've been in contact with for the past few years. Like I used to write every now and then, for instance, with Rob, like I would write something and he would hit me back. So I was like, okay, we've been back and forth a bit. So, and I just asked him, I'm like, dude, I'd love to interview you. Like I have read a little bit about how you started and how MMA really helped helped you and saved you from following the wrong steps. And he said, hey man, cool. And yeah, we talked for like an hour and a half, and he was so kind and he was so happy. He actually said a few things that he said, I haven't actually talked to anyone about this. And so it was also nice to see that he felt so comfortable talking to me that he opened up. But it was just that, man. And with the other people that I didn't know and that I just hit him up and said, hey, I'd love to interview you, they were like, hey man, perfect. And obviously when the where you from question comes and you say Panama, it's also they go like, man, from Panama, oh really? And so that helps, but it's just putting yourself out there. And
that's right.
If you don't ask, like you said, how can you say nobody helped me? Nobody wanted to help me. No one wanted to be on my show. No one wanted to be interviewed, and you didn't ask anybody. So, and people suffer from that. And like at the gym, I have to listen to that, man. Every week, I have to listen to people say, well, it's so hard. This is so hard. Why is it so easy for somebody? It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's never easy for anyone. It's never easy. But you gotta do it. Like, for instance, like a segue to what's happening in the States right now, and down here, people have been talking about that. I was telling a friend that down here, obviously, we don't feel racism that much because we're so mixed. Down here it's more about class, classes. It's more classism than racism.
Right.
Like, the people that have more, they treat the people that have less like shit. And that's you can really like see that.
Yeah.
But there is some racism. Like I have friends that they might say something and you'll be like, fuck man, that was racist as fuck.
Yeah.
And now I'll tell them, and then they're like, well, but I don't mean it that way. It's like, it doesn't matter how you mean it, how you meant it. You know, it's what you said was fucked up. So we do have racism down here, but at the same time, you know, if you work hard, if like personally, like, you know very well, you've known my dad and my grandfather. My grandfather, he was darker than my dad. My grandfather was black. He was like 6'4" and he was black. And like I always tell people that in that what I teach my sons is that their grandfather, he came from having a black father, you know. He didn't grow up in the city, so he didn't grow up in Panama City. He grew up, you know, like in like 2 hours, 3 hours away from Panama, like in a small town. So when he came into the city to study, you know, he came from a black dad, small town, and he went to live with an aunt at one of the poorest areas in Panama at the time, and still to this day. And you know how the story went. Like, my dad has been, you know, Minister of Foreign Affairs down here in Panama. He was a member of the Supreme Court. Like, so sky's the limit if you just say, you know what, I'm going to prepare myself and I am going to do this. And you're not going to take no for an answer, and you're not going to let anyone downplay you. And so, like, I have some mixed emotions. Of course, everything happens. Like, I've been arrested down here like 3 times, you know, when I was younger, just for dressing a certain way. So I know what that's about, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think we have to like when you teach people that, you know, people are gonna treat you. Some people are gonna treat you great. Some people are gonna treat you bad. Like, it's the same thing with people like on social media begging for acceptance or attention from people that they don't even know.
Right.
I mean, who the fuck cares? Like,
right.
My friends are not gonna judge me. Like, I can really fucked up, and you're not gonna judge me. You know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be there for me, and you're gonna say, "Hey, man, we're gonna get through this. Whatever. That was fucked up." But your friends are not gonna judge you. So like, to see people begging for acceptance or attention from people that they don't even know you, it's absurd. And that's what happens. That's what's happening in the world right now with trans people, with gay people, with, I mean, white, brown, red, black, it doesn't matter. People are worrying too much about what other people think about them. And that's a no-win situation, because nobody, I mean, in the history of the world, no race or religion or whatever has been loved and accepted by everybody.
Right.
So why is that going to change? That's not going to change. But why would you care? So I think that's crazy. And that, you know, with the shit that's happening, that's like a catalyst, because people are already like on the edge, because they feel left out. They feel people don't love them. They feel, I mean, and that's something, like you said, and it's funny that analogy works with this. What you said about, you know, keeping your house healthy, like you being healthy, your family being healthy, it's the same thing. Like, my kids, they don't see black or Chinese or Japanese or whatever.
Right.
Because kids don't see that.
Yeah.
You teach them.
That's right.
Because I've seen, I've seen other kids that they do look down at the black kid, at the Asian kid, at the what we call down here or our Aboriginals people, the Indian people that we call them down here, those Indios. So they look at them and it's like, oh, you know, oh, you teach that. Kids don't care about that when they're at the playground playing. So if we start teaching our kids love, That's the answer right there.
Yeah.
You know, in every house, that's what you teach. It all ends there. But that's not, you know very well, that's not happening, and that's not going to happen. And that's not going to happen because people always like to look for the answer elsewhere. You know, it's like the same thing with being healthy, or it's like, okay, you start by not eating the shit you know you shouldn't be eating. That's the first step. Second, move, walk, or do whatever. No, they don't do that. They want to go and they want to buy an app that it's going to tell them, and no, it's my phone's going to ring when I have to eat. You know what I mean? It's like that's how people. So they're not going to do the easiest thing to do, which is teach your kids to treat everyone the same, with respect, to be kind, to respect the elders. Like, people don't, I mean, the things you see out there that people don't even respect. We grew up with our parents telling us, you know, you have to respect your elders. Right now, people don't give a fuck about the elders, and they don't care about anyone.
Yeah. Well, we saw that happen a lot out here, where when the lockdown or shelter in place strategy first was initiated, people are hoarding toilet paper and canned goods. And you had seniors at the grocery store that are trying to buy a few things, and people are pushing them out of the way. I mean, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing to see that kind of treatment. And some of the grocery stores decided we're going to have hours where only seniors can come in to make, and they get first priority. So when we open, let's say between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., it's only going to be this demographic. No one else gets to come in to make sure that they're serviced. But it shows you a lot of people, when tragedy happens or when a stressful event happens, their compassion comes out. I mean, they're compassionate before all this, and they continue to be. Other people, though, it just shows you how self-centered they are, how they're only thinking about what they need. They go, I don't care if other people don't get access to food as long as I have access to it. I don't care if other people don't have toilet paper as long as I have a year's supply. You know, that kind of attitude just comes right out. And what we're seeing with a lot of the racial tensions right now, this isn't anything new. I mean, this comes in cycles in America. I mean, it's fairly constant. It's fairly constant in America, and then it hits peaks, right? We had the Rodney King one. That was a peak. You know, this is another peak. And I think it's a convergence of many things that have happened in recent times. One, speaking of America, we've all been sheltered in place for 2.5 months. We're being inundated with this pandemic every day. We're seeing the death toll go up every single day. A lot of people are out of work. They're not getting the stimulus checks that they were promised. The unemployment is not coming, or they can't even call the unemployment office to get to talk to anyone to get a check. So they're going, how am I going to make ends meet right now? I have nothing coming in. I didn't have any savings before this happened. I was just living paycheck to paycheck. Now I need these stimulus checks and so forth, and I'm not getting anything. So there's a lot of angst, a lot of frustration. A lot of small businesses are never going to reopen because they can't afford to be closed for 2 months. Maybe they were just barely getting by before, and now they're closed for 2 months. And then it's saying, okay, you can open now, but you can only have maybe 1/3 capacity you used to have. And imagine some hole in the wall restaurant with 2 tables, and they could only seat 1 table. It's like, okay, no more than 2 people at this 1 table at a time. And then, so people aren't going to just stand outside and wait. They're going to go somewhere else. So now they're just they're losing money by opening. So we have a lot of frustration going on. And then on top of that, speaking very specifically about racial incidents, first we have the young man who was running and he got executed by those 2 guys. I mean, that was an execution. And then there was this guy at Central Park who asked the lady, please put your dog on the leash.
That was crazy.
And then this lady is like, oh, I'm going to call the police. He's like, yeah, call the police. Go call the police. He's like, please call the police. And thank God this guy filmed the whole thing. Because imagine if there wasn't any record, it was just her word against his. Who knows what would have happened to him? So people were really angry about that. And that's just one of many incidents. That one made the news cycle. But you see stuff like that on YouTube almost every day. Guy can't even get into his own apartment complex because he's black, and the lady in there is going, oh, no, I've never seen you here. He's like, well, look, here's my keys. Like, oh, you stole that. So there's a lot of discrimination that people deal with, and they're getting a fed up point. And then the final straw was here's a police officer, and they're saying, oh, the police officer needs better training. No. Police officers know what to do to subdue someone.
Yeah.
I was a bouncer for several years when I was in college. I worked security. It's not that hard to subdue someone, even someone who's strong and so forth. You can put them in a certain hold and you can take away all their power. Now, here's a guy who was not resisting. He was face down. So just the fact that he was handcuffed and face down, it's not easy to get up. How you get up?
Not at all. You gotta be in the fucking circus to get up without using your hand.
He could have just put one hand on his back and the guy wouldn't move. And he wasn't resisting anyway. So he purposely put his weight on that point, knowing that it was lethal. Now, was his intention premeditated? He goes, look, I want to kill this guy. I don't know. But he knew that it was potentially life-threatening and didn't care. Even when the guy said, hey, I can't breathe, and please let me go, and these three other guys, police officers, just standing around. So that was the boiling point. So it's on top of dealing with the pandemic and not knowing how you're going to make ends meet, and then you're dealing with this. It's like now a guy who's basically murdered by a police officer, and there's a lot of tension between police and different ethnic groups as it is.
And the sad part is that usually when you look at these incidents that happen in the States, the cop, they get a slap on the wrist and okay, go on.
Right.
Or it's like, yeah, because you've seen like maybe, okay, they fired him. He should be in fucking jail. I remember, did you ever watch that video? I think it was like from a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, of a guy executing a white guy in a hotel.
I don't think so.
Yeah, the police got a call. They got a call from a room that there was a fight. Supposedly there was a fight, but there was a couple that they were staying in a room. I don't know if they were fighting or not. I don't remember. So this team of like 4 or 5 police officers, they got into the hotel and they started calling out the couple from their room. They were maybe like 4, maybe like 20 feet away from them, and you could see which later came out, the video from the police officer that shot the guys. The couple, they get out of the room with their hands up, right? So the police officer is like, okay, put your hands up. The guy, he puts his hands up. Then they call the girl in. She comes in. And the guy's still like maybe 15 feet away from him or 20. And he was like, okay, he had his hands up. He was like, okay, get on your knees. The guy gets on his knees. He's like, okay, get on all fours. Gets on fours. Like, okay, raise your right hand. So he was like playing with this guy.
Right.
And the guy was doing everything the policeman was asking him. And he was like, he was really far away from him. Well, to make a long story short, the guy, I don't remember if he told him to like lay down, but he did. The guy wasn't even trying to get up. And you watch the video and you listen to the police officer say, you're fucked. And he shot him and he killed him. Then when that video came out, when the trial was happening, on his weapon, he had scripted that phrase, you're fucked. So it was like, okay, this is my go-to phrase when I'm going to kill someone or execute.
Mantra. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at the time we heard like the guy maybe got like a few years but he executed, and he didn't pay what he should have paid for it. And I think that's the thing that hurts even more.
Right.
Like, this stuff, because this is going to continue to happen because it's impossible to, keep in check. I mean, how many police officers in the States? Obviously, not all police officers are bad, but you only need a few bad apples to have these incidents happen. And
right.
stuff like this is happening. And like I said, not only in the States, like down here, you see stuff like that happening. Like one of the guys that he was one of my trainers at the gym. He's now living in Costa Rica, Martin. I don't know if you met him when you came down here. And I remember I used to tell him when we would get out of the gym, I used to tell him to take his baseball cap off at night when he was trying to, to get a cap, because he used to walk around like, with his baseball cap on the side. And I'm like, and he used to complain that nobody stopped. I'm like, dude, you're like 6'1", like 225 pounds, and black, strong, with your baseball cap like to the side or whatever. They're not gonna stop, and that's something that happens. I mean, it's a sad reality that happens. I believe everywhere in the world, and like I said, it's funny because down here, like, we are really mixed. Like, our race down here, like, everybody's mixed. But even down here, we get it. I cannot imagine in other Latin American countries, like, let's say Costa Rica, where you only see black people like at just a few of their provinces. It's not like in Panama, where you walk in the city and you see black people everywhere.
Right.
In those countries, that doesn't happen. So like racial, there's racial tension in those other countries more than here. But even here, you see it. So
yeah,
it's fucked up that when something like that happens, you see that nothing happens. For instance, the other officers have not been arrested.
Yeah.
And they were just standing there. If it was you and I standing there while Sincere is killing a guy, we'd be in jail right now.
Right.
So that's something that's fucked up, and I think they have to do something with them, because if not, I mean, this fire is not going to go away.
They will in this case, just because it's gotten so much national attention. But
they wouldn't.
The problem is, even if it has the outcome that people want, then we just move on to the next news cycle. It doesn't create any systemic change, is where I'm going. Like right now, everyone's going, okay, I'm going to put my blackout screen on Instagram. I'm going to show unity and all this other stuff. I'm like, look, that's all. I like the spirit of that, but what doesn't do anything? What is it really doing anything? No. And I have a very interesting take on racism and race relations because of the way I look. I fall into, I can pass for a variety of ethnic groups, and I often have.
Yeah.
So my mother's from India, my dad's white. I'm part Native American, but not enough to make a big production out of it. So I'm not going to pull an Elizabeth Warren. I didn't put Native American on my college application. I could have legally, but I didn't do that to get preferential treatment. But I don't look Indian, so I don't really even know what it's like to be an Indian man, because I'm not perceived as Indian. And what you're perceived as is basically what you are, because that's how you're treated.
That's it. Yeah.
So I have been racially profiled by police officers in America before. And I know this for a fact because of the language they used and the way they spoke to me and so forth. There wasn't any doubt that it was racially motivated. And then I've been around very racist people. I remember I was walking to work one day back in college, and this truck with a rebel flag was coming my way. So I just looked up, and these guys all stuck their heads out, and they go, "Yeah, you fucking N-bomb." And I didn't even realize they were talking to me, because I'm not African American, so I don't perceive myself that way. But I was like, man, that was fucked up. Who are they talking to? And I looked around and I was like, shit, no one else is here. I thought it might have been one of my fellow students behind me, and I was gonna go say some nice words like, hey, don't worry about that, I'll walk with you. But it was just me. I was like, wow, these guys think I'm black. Now this is in Worcester, Ohio, where if you have black hair, they probably think you're black. And the nightclub I worked at, I dealt with all kinds of racist behavior. Sometimes it was white people who I liked, and then they would say something racist, and I didn't realize, like what you were saying about some of your friends, you're like, man, that's effed up. I remember one guy who was our manager, and I got along with this guy really well. He was cool. And then one time, 4 or 5 black guys walked in, and he comes over to me. He's like, "Yeah, keep an eye on those colored guys. You know, they always them type always cause trouble. You know, something to that effect." And I was actually shocked when I heard it. I didn't even know how to respond. You know, now when I hear something racist, I just respond immediately, like, "Hey, man, that's not cool. Don't say that." But then I was like, "Wow, I can't believe I just heard that." So I understand to some extent. Like, I'm not saying that, you know, I understand exactly how black men feel in America, but I do have some idea of how they feel because I've been there and I've been on that side of it. On the flip side, I've been around white people who think I'm white, so they speak very freely about their racism, just like the guy I mentioned. And I was like, wow, I can't believe that person's saying that in front of me. But that's what they really think. So what's going on is America is still very racially divided. You go to any city in America, here's where the white people live, here's where the black people live. Now, there's a little bit of cross-pollination, but not much. That's how it is. So a lot of white people have these preconceptions of what they think black people are all about, these stereotypes, if you will. And they keep getting reinforced because they never actually meet any and have candid discussions. And you can say vice versa as well. So what we need more of is, and I mean painfully honest conversations where white people are going, look, I know it's not right, but here's how I feel when I see a black man at night. Here's how I feel when I see a black woman doing this. And I know I shouldn't be thinking this way, but for whatever reason I am. So I'm just going to be honest with that and own it. And then same thing with any other ethnic group. We need to have that level of conversation so that everybody starts getting closer to being on the same page. You can never get everybody on the same page, but at least you get in that direction of an honest dialogue. Because as it is right now, there's a lot of lack of empathy because white people who've never been profiled, they're like, oh, you know, my experience with the police is good. You know, I don't get it. It's like, yeah, your experience probably is good and you don't get it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And like you said, not all police officers are bad. And I'm friends with many police officers and they're great people of many different ethnic groups. There's definitely a problem with this racial profiling. And these guys admit that. They go, yeah, there is a problem. And the problem is that a lot police officers are generally unionized, where it's very difficult to even get rid of someone, even that and forget about someone who's racist. There are people that are just very belligerent and they're rude to everyone, regardless of ethnicity. There's just a power play thing for them. Yes. And it's not easy to get rid of these people, even when the department wants to. So there's a lot of changes that need to happen on that level. I get it. I get the frustration. The frustration is totally warranted. I understand it. I think the protesting is good and all that. But when you're destroying people's businesses, that's not good.
I mean, imagine surviving the lockdown.
Yeah, exactly.
And then being looted. I mean,
and that's happening. And it's terrible.
It's happening.
There's one lady like, man, 2.5 months, I finally open, and these people come destroy my business. Now, people have to realize these aren't protesters that are doing that. These are criminals that are seeing an opportunity, right? It's not people with signs who have genuinely good intentions, and then they go, okay, it's midnight now, let's start looting. You know, it's two different groups.
Dude, in California, they were breaking into surf shops.
Yeah.
And guys were stealing surfboards. What the fuck is that? I mean, like you could see the video. There's a guy.
People running down the street with surfboards.
Yeah, and there's a guy on the Firewire Surfboards Instagram account that they posted a video of a guy. He was filming a few of the guys, and he was like, "Man, I can't wait to see you in the lineup so I can fuck you up. How dare you come into your surf shop? Because it's a surf shop." I mean, he knew the guys. It was like the surf shop that they went to, and they ended up, you know, robbing it. So it's like,
yeah, they saw an opportunity. Yeah, so that's what's happening is you have these opportunists, and sometimes they're not even people that are professional criminals. What happens is they're there, and they see other people looting, and they're going, well, hell, I mean, if they can get away with it, I can too. So let me go grab a TV. Let me go grab a computer. Let me go grab an iPhone. And that says a lot about them more than anything else. It basically says you don't break the law because you don't want to deal with the repercussions. But if you don't perceive any repercussions, then you're happy to break the law, which means you're a terrible person. You know, I'm not going to steal something from someone just because I think I can get away with it. I'm not going to do it, period. I don't want to F someone's business. It's not like I'm going like, man, wow, I could grab this right now and no one would know. Let me do it. So that's another problem we have is that the the line between good people and being pushed across that line where you just go with this mob mentality is a very tenuous line. I mean, just look at the Holocaust that happened in Rwanda during the Clinton administration, right? 800,000 people butchered in 90 days, most of the time with machetes and knives and so forth, right? It was a genocide. Now, this whole thing started with rhetoric. It's like, okay, it was the Hutsis and the Tutsis, or Tutsis and Hutsis. I'm forgetting it now. I believe it was the Hutsis that were the ones that were being targeted. But anyway, these were tribes that got along. They were fine. They lived peacefully. They coexisted. And then a rhetoric started coming, going, this group is the reason why we have all these problems. And then it just spiraled from there. And people that were friends were now killing each other. Ladies who took care of neighbors' kids were now killing those kids. I mean, it was horrific. And it happened really fast. And that's why it was so hard to contain. So, I mean, so human goodness, it's very fragile because people are so influenced by the group mentality. So whatever the group is doing, if the group is acting good, then most people are going to be fine. If the group starts doing nefarious things, then a high percentage of people in that group are just going to fall in line. And I've seen that happen. And I've been out in places where I've seen it happen.
Yeah. And like you're saying, it happens in certain countries. Maybe nowadays it doesn't happen. It's not happening that much, but like in the late 80s and 90s, you could see it. Like you and I could be friends, but then when the country got divided between, these people and these people, then it's like, well, man, fuck Mike. Like, dude, Mike was your friend. I remember watching a documentary about the basketball, about the Lithuanian basketball players, and when Yugoslavia got separated, and between Vlade Divac and Toni Kukoc, who played for the Bulls, Drazen Petrovic, and these guys, they were like brothers, and then when this civil war happened, they switched into don't talk to him,
Right.
and Toni Kukoc, for instance, he was saying that for years he wanted to know how Vlade Divac was doing, but he was pressured not only from the other NBA players that were of his country, but the people back home. So he said, because he said, I remember I used to, before games, go into the locker room and talk to Vlade. But he said, then I started getting calls from people back in Lithuania, and they were like, hey, Tony, you shouldn't be talking to Vlade because, we know your mom lives here and we know you. So it's crazy that it can change just like that, and you can get influenced just like that. Because, if I'm your friend, I'm your friend, and hell, I deal with the consequences, you know. But it's the human, the human mind is crazy. It can turn just a switch and change just like that. Like you said, that mob mentality is crazy because you're either a good person or a bad person. You're either criminal or you're not. It's not like, well, same thing happened here with U.S. invasion in '89.
Right.
Because that was December 20th. So imagine all the stores were getting ready for Christmas and stuff, and then this happened. And I remember the guys from the street where my mom used to live, where I used to live, where I grew up. Maybe it could be maybe 3 days after the invasion started, that they were going out and stuff, and they were going to the mall, and they were like, wait, man, we're going to go to the mall and we're going to get some Air Jordans. And are you coming? I'm like, I didn't leave my house for, I think it was that lasted 9-10 days. we didn't get out of the house, obviously. You know, and I didn't even want to get out of the house. But obviously my parents wouldn't let me. But the guys from my street, guys, I'm telling you, like middle to upper class, they went to the mall and they all got the Air Jordans at the time, because he was 89. It was Air Jordans 1 through the 4s. They all got the 4s, man. The bread, they got the black and red ones and the white cement. I mean, and I remember at the time, I was like, I mean, you guys were stealing. He said, no, but everybody was doing it. Like, it doesn't matter if everybody was doing it.
Right.
You know, you went to the mall, broke into a store, picked up a few things you didn't pay for. That's fucking stealing. I don't care how you're gonna call that. You're stealing.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it was, you know, where I grew up, so middle to upper class. So I mean, it's not about being poor. We had also, there was a store nearby where they mostly sell like stuff for the house and women clothing. When they reopened, because they were lucky enough to be able to reopen, a lot of stores couldn't open anymore. So 3-4 months after that happened, when all these people that went there and stole shit, the video camera, the CCTV had them on video, and imagine the shame they had to go through. They were going to buy stuff, and they were like, "Oh, well, but Mrs. Whatever, you know, you cannot buy here anymore because we saw you on tape robbing, stealing." It's crazy, you know. Yeah. And so it's not about like right now, like you said, people are not breaking into places to get food because they don't have nothing to eat.
Right.
No, they're going out there, getting some fucking Jordans, you know, getting some baseball caps, and that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Those are criminals. Those are criminals.
They're looking at a way I can get something for nothing. I'm here right now. It's an opportunism type mindset. It's like you said about these people, like, oh, it's not stealing. Everyone's doing it. And that's the mentality that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it, so why should I stop doing it? So everyone buys meat from factory farms, so why should I stop doing it? Even when you know better, even when you've seen the footage and you go, man, that's horrible. I don't want to support that. But it's easy to keep supporting it because everybody else is doing it. That's why systemic change is so difficult, because even when the facts are conveyed widely, people will find a way to just compartmentalize that in their mind, push it off, so they don't have to change their behavior.
Yeah.
It never ends, right? Peer pressure is something that it doesn't just happen when you're a teenager. It happens to people in the corporate world. It happens to adults. Yeah. Look how many people in the corporate world are miserable. They feel that they have to drive a certain car. They have to dress a certain way. They've got to have a certain kind of spouse. They got to live in a certain kind of house. Otherwise, they're not going to be accepted. Yeah. It's like, man, if you have to do all of those things just to be accepted by someone.
Yeah, maybe that's not something.
Yeah, maybe that's not accepted.
Hanging around the wrong people. Yeah. Maybe that's not the thing you should be doing.
Yeah. But so much of that's how the desire to belong to some kind of group, a tribe, if you will, is so strong for people that they will compromise a lot to maintain their position in that tribe, and compromise even more to elevate in that tribe. And then that's a really dangerous mentality. And we see how that mentality can be transfused in a certain way to be really destructive. And we see a lot of that going on right now. So I don't know, it's a really crazy time, because just when we thought we were starting to get out of this pandemic, it's like, all right, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. The casinos are starting to open a little bit. Businesses, we're getting back to normal a little bit. Then all of a sudden this thing happens. And now you notice that no one's talking about COVID-19 anymore. It's not in the news at all. It's like, what happened? It just went away? You know? It's like, okay, that news cycle is over. Now we're focused on this. Now, if there's a big resurgence in cases, because now you have all these people that are huddled together all over America and all over the world in some cases, thousands of people marching together and so forth. I'm like, all right, we're going to see who's right now about all of this different science or quote unquote science we've heard out there. It's like, look, numbers are going to go way up if this happens. I'm like, okay, well, now it's happening. So let's see if the numbers go way up. They may not. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But if the numbers go way up, then we realize, okay, there was something right about the narrative that we've told. If they don't go up, then we're going, okay, maybe it wasn't as contagious as we originally thought. And I think that the problem with, it's a problem with perspective too, in a variety of ways, not just with racism, but with the pandemic too, because that's why you have so much debate. You have some people saying, look, we never should have shut down. Why did we shut down at all? We should have just continued as normal, like what Sweden's doing and so forth. Now, generally, the people that are saying that are in places like where I live or in other parts of America where you didn't really get hit that hard. So it's not relatable. Like what we see in the news is not relatable locally for most of us because we're not seeing it. We're walking around at the park. Everyone looks healthy. Everyone looks happy. No big thing. So we're going, why are we shut down? And that makes some sense because it's got to be take it by case basis. Vegas probably didn't need to do the same shutdown that, let's say, New York City did. Now, New York City got hit really hard, and I think half the deaths are coming from New York City, or half the cases at least. And for obvious reasons, that's a very highly concentrated population and so forth. So the medical system there got overwhelmed. In London, their medical system got overwhelmed as well, to the point where people are going, look, we can't save everyone, so we're going to have to save certain procedures for people that are most likely to survive. And we're just going to have to let people who are not likely to survive die because we don't have the capacity to help everyone. So people there are going to have a much different mentality. And who's right? Well, they're right about their situation. Maybe we're right about our situation. So it has to be different strategies for different places. But the same thing can be said with racism as well. You see something like what happened to Floyd. You see something about what happened to this guy going for a jog and getting gunned down, this guy in Central Park. And you're like, wow, that's terrible, but I don't do that. And I don't know anyone out here who does that. So it's not really a problem. And the media is just making it bigger than it is. And then the reality is it is a really big problem. And a lot of police officers I talk to, they go, yeah, it is a problem in our departments and we're trying to clean it up. They're not denying that it's a problem. Most police officers I talk to, they go, yeah, it's definitely a problem. And we need some kind of infrastructure overhaul to get this moving in the right direction. But I think that again, the biggest problem with at least racism in America is that we're just too divided ethnically. So there's not a lot of honest dialogue. Like you said, if you grow up in a racist environment, you think you didn't hate, let's say you're a white person and you had friends who were black, and then one day your father's like, hey, stop hanging out with those M-bombs. And you're like, well, wait a minute, those are my friends. And he goes, okay, well, here's all the reasons why you shouldn't hang out with those people. And you're a kid, so you're impressionable. And you're going, oh, okay, I didn't realize all that. So now you have the roots of being a racist. Yeah, and then let's say you go join the police force later on and you have all this racism in your mind. It's going to come out through your actions.
Obviously.
So that's the biggest problem I think we have, is that if the more you interact with people, the less of these dumb preconceived notions you have. And I've had the good fortune I've been all over the world. I've had the good fortune of having traveled all over the world. And I've been in situations where I needed help. Car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. When car broke down in the middle of nowhere in New Zealand, guess what? A white guy drove by, helped us out. Car broke down in the middle of Kenya, guess what? A black guy drove by, he helped us out. And they weren't doing it for any kind of opportunism. They just wanted to be helpful. They saw someone in need, they go, let me help them out. I've been in India where people there help you out. I've been in America. So most people I really believe that most people are not racist, but a lot of people have these prejudices that they're not even aware of that they have it. Like one time at the dog park, there was a lady who was like, oh, there was these two black women were smoking weed in their car while their kids were playing. I'm like, okay, why do you have to let me know that they're black women? Why didn't you just say two women?
Women, yeah.
Yeah, because if it was two white women, I guarantee you she wouldn't have said two white women or smoking weed in their car while their kids are out. Now, this is not someone who I believe is racist, but she has some prejudices in her mind, and she needs to be honest about that. And that's where I'm going, is that everyone needs to be able to be honest about what they're feeling and have that discussion without being someone going, man, I'm going to beat that guy's ass for. It's like, no, I'm just telling you how I'm feeling because of my upbringing and so forth. I know it's not right, and that's why I'm expressing it, just to get it off. Because right back to Rwanda, the whole killing stopped when eventually both groups decided. Now this is an oversimplification, but both groups decided that we have to forgive each other in order to move forward. So in other words, no matter what nefarious thing you did while this whole thing was going on, we're just going to give everyone a pass. Because otherwise it's going to be, you killed my sister, I'm going to kill you. It's like, oh, you killed my mom, so I'm going to kill your mom. And it just goes on forever. And they were able to do that, which is amazing. So I think we need to have some kind of similar situation where it's people are talking who have never talked to each other, and they're expressing honestly how they feel and maybe why they feel that way. And they're doing it in a place where they know they don't have to worry about some kind of hostile retaliation, because some people don't want to admit. It's almost like group therapy. Like they don't want to admit that in a group, because now they're like, man, this person's going to want to kick my ass afterwards when they see me on the street and so forth. But until we have that really honest dialogue, that's the beginning of it. It's definitely not the end of it, but that's the beginning of it. Without that beginning, though, I don't really see how things improve.
I think, like you said, it's always a cycle. Like,
yeah,
you have every time something like this, and now more than ever, we're gonna see it on TV. It's gonna be on Instagram right away.
Right.
Hell, it's gonna be on Instagram Live or Facebook Live, like something happened.
Right.
But I think now, if some kind of change doesn't come out of this, it's gonna be really sad, because then we're gonna be waiting for the next episode,
right?
And why would we expect that something's gonna change? And it starts with that. I think it starts with laying your guard down. I remember the whole Colin Kaepernick thing.
Right.
Like, I for some reason I was watching the news the first day he said he was going to do that, and I remember thinking, when he said, "Well, I'm doing this because I don't think it's right the way this country it's behaving, whatever, and I'm not doing it in any way to protest against my fellow Americans and the armed forces. I've had families that have served this country." He said it before sitting down, because remember, he first sat down and then he kneeled.
Right.
So before the first day of protest, he said, "This is not against the armed forces. I have the utmost respect for them. Some members of my family have served." And because people are not able to let go of whatever it is they believe in, that's why some people, like, still to this day, I was watching posts of people, because some people are like, maybe Kaepernick was right. He was doing it for the right reasons. And I could see, like I said, friends of mine saying, that some of them are PDR trainers, personal defense trainers of Flower Tactical, which I work with.
Sure.
And some of them were like, "Well, but I don't care, that asshole, when he was spitting on our armed forces." And because we already had that conversation, I'm like, I'm not even gonna go there. But I mean, that's what you got out of him kneeling, saying he was doing this for this reason. Right. So, there you see that there's a huge problem, because
he spelled it out exactly why he's doing it, and even then people didn't get it, even though he said, "Hey, here's the reason why I'm doing this." Like, no, that's not why you're doing it.
It's not what you're doing. And like a few of these Fox Sports guys were saying, he actually he didn't even try to make it a movement. He was doing it for himself because he didn't go to his teammates and say, "Hey, Mike, I'm going to do this. Do you want to do this with me?" He didn't do that. He was doing it by himself. And then, well, the whole thing caught fire and other players started doing it, but he was doing it for himself. So he wasn't even thinking about, I want to do this because, and then the whole rhetoric about that he was a washed up quarterback and, he wasn't in the league because he couldn't play anymore. I mean, all of us that watch football knew he was better than all the backups and most of the starting quarterbacks in the league. So, and then now it's coming out, you hear news coming out that, well, he was blackballed because of this, because they thought the ratings were going to go down because, a huge percentage of Americans were against what it was doing. But it didn't help that he had a veteran kneeling alongside him for a couple of games, because the mind of the people that we're going to think, fuck this guy, is already made up. So it doesn't matter what he said, what he was already made up. It's like, oh man, he spit on the armed forces and fuck him. Trump called him sons of bitches.
Yeah.
It doesn't help when the president says that. And I think he got a pass from that, because like, to say that to a guy that was kneeling protesting police brutality in the black community, and to call him and the guys that were doing it sons of bitches, I think that was way out of line. But yeah, it shows where the mind of a huge percentage of the population is. So yeah, man, something positive has to come out of this, because if not, it's going to be another wasted opportunity for change. Yeah. But you and I know it's sadly, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen. America is too divided, too racially divided for that.
Yeah. It's going to have to get a lot worse before it comes back around. It's going to have to be even more tragedies like this before there's any real systemic change. And even then, discrimination just seems to be part of human nature. So if it's not this, it's something else. Like you said, classism is more of an issue there. In India, same thing. Classism is more of an issue. Even in places like Kenya, they're all black people, but there's tribal discrimination in places like that. In the Middle East, if you're lighter skinned, you're deemed as better. If you're darker skinned, and I'm making generalizations here, but I hear these kind of things in a variety of places. So there's some level of this discrimination that's so deeply rooted in our psyche that it just keeps manifesting over and over again in different ways. But the thing that people have to understand, when you're racially profiled by a police officer, that's a really scary thing. Because I've been accosted by police officers where I'm racially profiled, and in my mind I'm thinking, they could do whatever they want to me right now, and I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. That's what's going through your head. Like, if I have to play it really cool right now, I have to not lose my temper, not show any frustration. I just got to get through this, because they have the power to put me in handcuffs. They could throw me in a prison cell, and maybe this whole thing will work its way out eventually. But what's going to be the cost on me by the time that happens? So with that's and if you haven't experienced that, you don't really get that. And I think that's the problem also, is that it's also happened during this pandemic. There were people going, look, we just have to be patient, people just have to relax. And I go, that's easy for you to say. We live in this privileged neighborhood, and you have a good amount of money in savings, and you're getting your Social Security and your stimulus and so forth. So for you, you're like, what's the big deal? But a lot of people are not in that situation. So you have to think about them. You don't think about, well, I'm doing okay, so that means everything's okay. No, you're one person. My business did fine during this whole thing, but that didn't mean that I wasn't concerned about people that are losing their jobs left and right, and friends of mine who work on the Strip who've been unemployed for 2 months now, and they may not even have their job back ever. Now, I was concerned about that. I wasn't just thinking, well, my business is fine, so everything's good. Everyone else just needs to relax. So you got to get outside of yourself sometimes.
We need more compassion and more empathy and I think that's key. Um, I was always during this time, and this week he finally could get out and sell his meals. I was constantly checking on a Colombian guy that he used to walk by the gym every day because he cooks and he sells you know he might sell 50 60 meals a day, and obviously during this pandemic he wasn't working.
Yeah.
And he's from Colombia, so he doesn't have family here, doesn't have another income. So like I would check on him and how you doing, and him, or he would write and say, I'm cooking, I'm preparing this meal, whatever. If you have any friends, tell them. The the Colombian, what they call bandeja paisa. I think when we went with when we went with Jason to read, I believe it was in the causeway where you can see the the ocean.
Right.
Well, then, yeah, because I think that's a huge plate that has like beans and avocado and rice, and has like stuff like this.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, he's like, I'm cooking this for the weekend. If you have any friends, please let them know. And I tried to help him because I was like, this poor guy, he's in another country. He doesn't have any family. Actually, before the pandemic hit, his dad got sick, so he was actually working like overtime to get more money to his dad. He was in Colombia sick. So that's one of the people that, he was on my mind during this whole time. I was like, man, how's this guy doing? I even bought him stuff a few times. I don't even eat meat. And then he was like, well, I have this. But because, we have to have empathy for other people. And until, like you said, like I've lived through that. I think when I was like 4, one of the times we were at Disney, and I rented like a Ford Explorer or something like that. And then when I went to pick it up, something happened. They didn't have it. So they were like, oh, Mr. Ortega, we're sorry. Something happened. We don't have the car right here, but we're going to do, because we basically fucked up, we're going to give you an upgrade, and we're going to give you with this BMW. And so, one day we were driving back from Animal Kingdom. We got pulled over, and it's like you said, like if somebody hasn't been, stopped by the police, and the language is different because you know, and the whole vibe, because you feel it. And so, here I am with my family. I'm like, oh shit, man, I gotta stay calm. And obviously you're nervous. You haven't done anything, but you're nervous because there's the what if aspect of it that is fucked up, and that the reality is white people are not gonna go through that unless you're like driving reckless around the street or whatever. But like when that happens to you, at that time, your heart starts racing, and you're like, oh man, I gotta stay cool. Okay, you got nothing in the car, but you're like, did I live something? They don't have the drugs in the car. Are the drugs here? Do I have the weapons?
Yeah, you start feeling like a criminal, and then they're gonna be like, man, this guy's acting like a criminal, and then the thing escalates. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. And I've had many good interactions with police too. I've been pulled over twice in Vegas, and both times the guys were very nice. I was very nice. I did everything right. I put my hands on the wheel. I didn't make any sudden movements, but they were very friendly too, and they were very professional. So I've been on both sides of it. It's not as if every interaction I've had with police has been a negative one. And I tell you what, I've had negative interactions with minority police officers too. Female police officers as well, where they came at me hard, and I don't know if it was racially motivated or what it was, but they definitely came at me with this energy of, I've got the power and you're screwed at any moment. I mean, you could feel it. You could feel the tension in the air. So I've been there. I get it. I think it's a mistake when people start inciting violence against the police, though. That's where it becomes, that's where it crosses into a, I mean, if we, clearly it's not it's clearly it's unproductive, but it's also not warranted because most police officers are they get into that job with the right intentions. They want to help people. They've got those protective instincts and so forth. They're not looking to go out there and be bullies and harm people. So you're making a situation worse when you say, fuck the police, we're going to kill the police, you know, pigs must die, people walk around with a dead pig's head overhead and all that. That's you're dehumanizing them the same way that you're complaining about how they're dehumanizing you.
Yeah.
Now it's just this fighting fire with fire thing. It's like, okay, you're going to dehumanize me, I'm going to dehumanize you. It's like, all right, fine. Where does that get us?
Yeah.
Gets us to a really dangerous place. But like what you said about Chris Rock, actually, when you brought up Chris Rock, but when you talked about how, like, you know, there's some bad apples, he has a funny bit about that. He goes, you know, we need to come up with a better phrase than bad apples for some of the police officers that act in these terrible ways. Because I've had a bad apple before. It wasn't that bad. You know? So we need a much stronger term. And then Dave Chappelle has a really funny joke too about it. He goes, I can't ever call the police over to my house because they're not going to believe I live there. They're going to be like, man, someone broke into this guy's house and put up pictures of his family and his friends everywhere. You know? So there's yeah, the frustration with racism is real. There's no doubt about that. And that's one thing that people who don't understand it need to accept. Just listen to what people have to say on that. You mean, it's like, look, if a woman comes to me and tells me about sexism that she deals with, I'm not going to tell her, oh, come on, you know, you're making a big deal out of it. That didn't happen. No, that would never happen. So that's never happened to me. You know, why would that happen to you? It's like, yeah, of course it's never happened to me. But so just because something's never happened to me doesn't mean I should be incredulous when someone talks about something that's happened to them. Doesn't mean you have to believe everything someone says because people are liars too.
Yeah.
That's what makes this whole thing even more complex is a lot of people lie about stuff. And then that they want to be part of this victim club and so forth. So they lie about it to be in there. But people's concerns should be taken seriously and given its due process.
Yeah, I think that's where it all should start. Listen, like really listen, because actually you saw yesterday and today a lot of people posting like, well, you know, I'm ready to listen, or hopefully that's what happens, because that's what the world needs, because that event has hit everywhere. Like you've seen protests all over, you know, the news everywhere. Hell, Australia, and I mean, Australia is really fucking far from the Straits, and the news were covering that, and because people want to see where is this gonna go? Like,
right?
Is this gonna lead to some kind of change, or is it just gonna be another Rodney King, another? Because and like I said, it's most likely that's what's gonna happen. Because unless people start really listening to their neighbors, and you know, not, because you could have people like, okay, hurry up, you know, before the neighbor gets out, like the black neighbor gets out. So start listening to your neighbor, talk to them, call them, and like you said, just put your heart out and say, look, this is what I think of when I see someone like you. I know it's fucked up, but I don't know you. I don't know how, you know, how you guys really behave. I've never talked to. There are people that I've never talked to. Like, I have friends growing up that, for some reason, like we knew each other, that they had a lot of money, and they basically had never talked to people that were not rich as them, you know, unless they work for them. But like regular people, it's like, no, I've never, like, really? Like, do people do this? Like, do these people eat this? really? Like, and that's their reality, you know? And it's not that they're being like, yes, they are being, there's some classism there, but for them, because that's not a reality, that's not a part of their world, they're not even thinking like that in a bad way.
Right.
That's just the way they grew up.
Right.
So that's why people have to open their mind to how other people live, because their reality might be this, and they might not be judging other people because they're bad people. It's just that
right
in their world nobody looks like that,
right
know? So that's where it's complicated, and that's why people have to really say, okay, I'm gonna open up, and I'm gonna listen to what's going on. And so,
yeah.
like I said, it's a great opportunity for change. Yeah.
You know, and on the flip side of that, we're in this gotcha society right now where everybody's looking for someone to screw up. It's like, oh, you said that, you're racist. It's like, come on. So now it's like, oh, you're not woke enough. I hate that phrase. I hate when anyone.
Oh, yeah, I don't even use it.
It's woke. It's like, it's like, don't ever say that in front of me. All right. So because to me it's superficial. You're just trying to change language a little bit, semantics and so forth. So now someone says something in a way that you don't like, it's like, oh, you're racist, or oh, you're sexist, or you're a bigot. And that's not going to get us anywhere either. This whole you're waiting for someone to screw up just so you can call them out on it. It's like, oh, I saw you do this. Gotcha. Yeah. And then you try to blacklist people from the way they make a livelihood and so forth. They get fired from their jobs, or they like, look, I don't even think, like, the lady who accosted that guy in Manhattan, I think she should have been fired from her job, because she's just a psychotic person. You don't want someone like that working for you. So that's good.
You could see her like scaling up, and then he started talking as if the guy was on top of her. He's like, oh, he's harassing me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's tormenting her dog. She's abusing this dog the whole time. She's sitting there complaining about this guy saying, put your dog on a leash, and she's like whipping this dog around the whole time when she's talking. The dog is screaming in pain. I was like, Jesus, lady. I was like, you're the only person here abusing anyone is you. You're abusing this poor dog. Fortunately, they took the dog away from her. The guy remained calm and cool, which is what you have to do. But you shouldn't have to deal with that. And it's a shame we live in a world where people have to deal with stuff like that. And that's the other thing people don't understand too, is like this weight people carry around all the time, because they're going, okay, what's going to happen today? I'm going out to a restaurant. Who's going to come at me this way today? So now you're bracing for it. Like, someone's walking by, you're looking at them going, okay, this person looks like they're about to say this, because it happens so often. You become paranoid about it.
And I said this the other day, and it was funny and sad that for some people, the battery life of their cell phone could be the difference between life or death.
That's a very good
being free or being in jail. And that shouldn't. And that shouldn't. Because imagine something like that happens, and like you don't have, like, your phone's dying out, and you cannot record it. You're fucked. Like you said, it's your word against her.
Well, even with George Floyd, we only know about it because everyone was sitting there filming it. What if no one was around filming it? It would have just been the police officer's word against now a dead person in custody, or a dead person arrested. And we don't really know what the truth is going to be at that point. So if people, that's the good side, I guess, of our phone culture, where everybody's filming everything. It's, in some cases it works out for the better, because at least we get to see some actual what actually happened, instead of just he said this, she said this, or he said this person said that. But there's this vindicative nature that I think all of us have it's possible for all of us to become vindictive and cruel, right? That's something we all have to accept as well. There's a book called The Lucifer Effect, and it's about how situational forces affect someone, and it can turn people that are usually good under certain circumstances into something else, because it's a convergence of situational forces and pressure and so forth. Now, we could say that, hey, those people shouldn't succumb to all that, and that's true, they shouldn't. But the fact is they do. So we have to be well aware of that as well. There could be people who went to this protest who didn't even have intentions of doing any looting and so forth. They just went down there with the right intentions, and then the whole thing spiraled, and it became hostile between the police and the protesters. And now all of a sudden, people are destroying properties and so forth. I'm not trying to rationalize any of this behavior and all that, but I'm trying to understand what's going on rather than say, here's what happened here, here's what happened here, and here's what we need to do about it. We have to get to root causes of why people behave in certain ways. Otherwise, we're just looking at surface solutions. We're going to initiate this law. It's like, okay, what's that going to do though? Yeah. We have to protect kids. That's why we have child abuse laws. I'm like, okay, that's good. But even with those laws, child abuse still happens. In fact, during this pandemic, domestic abuse and child abuse have gone way up because there's nowhere for these people to escape.
Yeah.
They're stuck at home with their abuser.
Those motherfuckers out there the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, now this person's even more abusive because they're out of work and they're stuck with the people that they abuse. And I'm not justifying someone being abusive at all. I'm just stating facts. I'm just stating
that's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact.
It's just things that are happening. So we see this I think this attitude of, and sometimes I have these judgmental thoughts in my mind too. I see people doing, I'm like, what's this person doing? So you have to check yourself. You have to catch yourself. Even in the fitness industry, we see a lot of like, all these fat, lazy people doing this, that, and so forth. I'm like, okay, fine. But didn't you get in this industry to help those people? So how is denigrating them helping them?
Yeah.
It's like, you got to have a little bit of compassion. You don't know why they ended up that way. A lot of times it's psychological reasons. It's not just because they're addicted to food. There's some psychological reason that manifested through that food addiction. So it doesn't mean that you have to coddle people or walk on eggshells, but just have a little bit of empathy. And also when someone, let's say you're putting someone who's through a workout and they're having a hard time and you're thinking in your mind like, oh, this is easy. Why is this person having such a hard time? That's a really unhealthy attitude to have too.
Yeah.
What if someone came to you like that? What if I went and trained with Mark Philippi? He's way stronger than I am. And he's going, come on, Mike, it's only 500 pounds. I just did it 10 times. You can only do it 5 times. What's wrong with you? Yeah, he doesn't do that because he's a good coach and he wants to help people. So that mentality, I think sometimes also a lot of people think that they're looking for things to make them feel better about themselves. It's like, I make more money than this person, I'm better. Or I have better clothes than this person, or a better car, or I'm in better shape than this person, so I'm better. It's like, you may be better at that one thing, but that doesn't mean that you're better overall than anyone. You're just better at that one thing, which ultimately doesn't really mean that much at the end of the day. I love training and I love lifting heavy weights. I love doing all these things, but it's none of it's really that important at the end of the day.
That's what I tell my people is like, at the end of the day, like for me, really when we think about being better, is being better humans.
Right.
That's what should be allowed. Because
on
the other hand, you have all these people, like I said, either begging for acceptance or being jealous about the life of other people. But like I always tell people, like, well, dude, like these guys, yes, they're famous singers, they're millionaires, but some of them, not to say most of them, but some of them have a really fucked up life. They're not happy about themselves, suffer from depression. They have addiction problems, or their family is fucked up. So then it's like, okay, why am I jealous of you? Like the money? And then you got to start thinking, okay, he has the money, but he's not happy. So maybe the money's not that important, Maybe it's more important to be healthy and have my family, or my kids are healthy, and my dad's alive, my mom's. So then you start peeling things, and then you can say, maybe if you're a good person, you can say, well, and then you can say, well, and not maybe you can say I'm better, but it's like, well, I'm a good person, and I think that's our ultimate goal. That's what our ultimate goal should be. And I always tell people that's it. And some people, when you talk about that, they look at you and it's like, oh man, yeah, you live in Disney World. Or no, really, that should be your goal, to be good humans. Because if we're good people, none of the shit that we're going through in the world happens.
Right.
You know?
It's almost like if we're all healthy, we're going to be asymptomatic with the virus, so now it's not a problem. If we're all good people that actually have some genuine concern for other people, for animals and so forth, then we're not going to have these kind of problems, which really comes back to a lack of concern, a lack of consideration, a lack of compassion. And the things that really make you feel better is when you help others, whether it's helping a dog, helping an animal, helping a person. You know, when you're at the service of helping make the world a better place, as corny as that sounds, that's when you genuinely feel better, though. Yeah. You get a little PR from a workout, you feel good for a little while after that. Then you're going, okay, now what do I do? It doesn't have a long changing thing. But when I look back on the kindness I've received from other people, a lot of times strangers, in the times where I've helped out strangers too, so I've been on both sides of that. I remember those times. I remember how good it felt. I remember how good it felt to be helped when I needed help, and I remember how good it felt to help someone when they needed help. Yeah. Those are the things that make the big difference.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's about being better humans. At the end of the day, you know, it's not going to be about having money. It's not going to be about having a six pack.
Right.
It's about being better humans. And if we are good people, genuinely good people, you know, there's no place for being racist, and there's no place for looking down on other people. And so that should be the goal. That should be a goal. And I always say, you know, love always wins. You know, love always wins. Being nice, being kind. That should never be like out of date. It's like, well, you know, that's old fashioned, man. Like you know, yeah. You say, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, and it's not gonna be. That should never go out of fashion. You know.
Yeah, having consummate manners. You know, it was a guy. There's a guy. One of my favorite actors is Ricardo Montalban, right, from Fantasy Island and Star Trek 2, of course, Khan. But more of me being a fan of him as an actor is I'm a fan of him as a person, because anytime I've seen him in an interview, he carries himself with such grace and such class. I go, he's such a classy guy. The way he talks to people, the way he interacts with people, the word choices he has, and all that. I go, that's a really classy person, and I like that. I like people who carry themselves, and it's not pretentious. It's not an act. He's not trying to put on something. That's just who he is. So he's a good person, and it comes through with his interactions.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of people that I admire a lot, that respect a lot. And then, you know, people that like Ty Ritter and Project Child Save, people who put their lives on the line. They're rescuing kids. And that's where I think, you know, action is the most important thing ultimately. When right now we're in this phase of everyone's talking. We're on the news talking, people are watching, and then they're talking about what they saw on the news. So there's a lot of talk happening, and that's all fine and good. But when does talk become action? Because I remember talking to people at the dog park too about human trafficking and kids being in sex slavery and so forth. And they're like, oh yeah, that's horrible. And then I brought up, I'm like, oh, this is a perfect time for me to bring up Project Child Save, channel this discussion into action. And I go, well, hey, there's an organization I support, and here's what they do. And people are like, they're almost disappointed that I gave them an action step, because they just want to talk about it. Like, well, wait a minute.
They want to talk and feel good that they talked about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this one comedian said that, I forget who it is now, but he said whenever he's sitting in first class and he sees a member of the military get on the plane, he always thinks, I should give up my seat. I should just give this person my seat as a thank you for their service. He's like, I never do it, but I think about it. And then I just feel good about it that I thought about it. He goes, that's enough. Just because I thought about it, I give myself a little pat on the back, and then I move on. Right? So it's kind of like that mentality. It's almost as if people are more concerned about being perceived as a good person than actually being a good person. And that's a little dangerous. And they don't want to do anything that benefits other people unless other people know about it. The real test is, hey, you have an opportunity to help someone right now. No one's ever going to know about it except you and the other person. Or maybe the other person is not even going to know about it. Maybe you do it anonymously. You make a donation to Project Child Save that helps them do a mission. They save a bunch of kids. You're never going to meet any of these people. You're not going to meet the kid that was saved or the kids that were saved. You're not going to meet the team that went and rescued the kids. But does that make you feel any less about it as a result of that? You go, oh, you know, I should get a pat on the back for what I did there. It's like, no, like the act alone has to be the reward.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine, he has a restaurant, and they have been sending like every day, man. They're sending like maybe like probably 2,000 meals to one of the like little hospitals that are kind of like in the not downtown in Panama City, but just maybe a little apart from the city, and been doing that since day one. 2,000 meals every day. You know, they haven't been open to the public at all. Maybe they've opened now, like the past week, but they have been doing that, and they were not posting that anywhere. I know because he's a friend, and I know they were doing it, but they're just doing that to help. So they're not doing it for promotion, and obviously it could help because, you know, how people perceive you, they'll be like, oh man, you know, look what they're doing. That's so nice, because it is something nice that they're doing, but it's not the reason why they're doing it. So they're like, you know, and then I see other people I know giving away 30, 50 chicken wraps, and they're posting an IG live doing it. And so, you know, you see the two types of people.
Feeding the homeless, walking down the strip, just make sure everybody knows I'm such a great guy. Yeah. I think that's the real test is, are you willing to do something really generous for someone without anyone knowing, including the person that you're being generous to?
Yeah.
And I think that whatever your answer is on that says a lot about you. If it's only for, well, I'm going to make a donation because I get a tax deduction, so let me just make a arbitrary donation to some random organization, or I'm going to make a donation because when this person finds out, they're going to jump up like they won the lottery, and they're going to tell me how grateful they are and so forth. And then that's okay too, to some extent. But the reality is that if that's the only reason why you're doing, I mean, even if your intention is not in the right place, it's still working, right? I mean, if someone decides to donate $100,000 to Project Child Save, but they want to be acknowledged for it, it's like, hey, you know, you got to put up a video saying that I did it and so forth. You may be like, all right, fine, I'll do it. It's still helping a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Even though the intention wasn't necessarily there, someone with the right intention donating $1 is not going to be as impactful as someone with the wrong intentions donating $100,000. I mean, both are helpful, but that's another level of complexity as well. But I just think more as a growth of a person, is that we can't be so dominated by our ego, where everything is ego gratification. And when I studied Sufism in college, it was all about taming the ego. It wasn't about eradicating the ego. It wasn't about, hey, we got to kill the ego. It's like, no, the ego are the horses, and we're the driver of the carriage. So we have to decide where the horses go, rather than the horses are just running free and we're just following wherever the horses want to go. We're just going in that direction with them. And I think a lot of people fall into the latter. They have an ego idea and they just go with it. It's like, I'm going to go play blackjack and lose a lot of money today. They don't even think about it. It's just their ego is pulling them in that direction.
Definitely.
Well, cool, man. This has been, I could talk to you forever, but we've been talking for 2 hours here, so we should probably wrap it up a little bit. It's a fun conversation. I like doing this. This is something I'm doing in addition to the show I do with Sincere, because he's actually busy right now moving. So I go, what am I going to do for the next couple of weeks? I want to keep having conversations. And then I'm thinking, you know what? I haven't done much on YouTube in a long time. So let me start talking to my friends, start building up some YouTube content, start giving people some audio-visual content as well. And also, it's just a great way to catch up with people, because a lot of times we don't end up talking that much. So through something like this, we can almost make it, whenever you catch up with a friend, let's just record it, because we're going to have a good conversation and we can deliver some content to people as well, give them something to think about. But with you right now, is your gym open now, or are you going to be opening soon?
They're saying maybe by the end of the month they'll know. So,
you're still in a holding pattern for right now.
Yeah.
But people can find out more about you. They just go, where would they go? They go to your website, they go to Instagram.
Yeah, you go to my Instagram, to Ory Ortega of Briga Training, and brigalife.com is a new website I've been working on. So I think that's gonna be live on Friday. Cool. So yeah, so I'm doing that, and yeah, just having online clients, and I'm just waiting, man. Just waiting. Yeah. But in the meantime, just creating content, writing a lot, working a lot. I'm putting the finishing touches on a book that I'm doing. So I'm gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm talking to you about that. Because one of the things a lot of people ask me about is, okay, how did you transition into plant-based eating, and and how to do it? And like I've told you 1,000 times, I didn't have to transition much because I already I didn't eat fish. I didn't eat, so I barely ate meat. So I didn't have to give up a lot.
Right.
But a lot of people do. And when they try to they don't transition into it, but they just try to say, okay, I'm not going to eat any animal products anymore, and I'm going to do this. And it doesn't work because it's very hard to do that from one day to another. Right. So because a lot of people ask me about that, and I've heard a lot of people say, I try to do it, but I failed because I did this and I did that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do something to kind of help people transition into eating a plant-based diet. And so I've taken a lot of the things that my clients and my friends have told me where they fucked up, where do they think that maybe if I would have done this, it would have been easier. And so I started, getting notes and writing stuff and writing articles and stuff. And then I said, you know what? I have all this material here, just going to put it in one place. And then same thing with the plant-based eating. I said, okay, how do people start training the right way, quote unquote? And as you know, a lot of people have muscular imbalances they haven't worked on, and they want to jump right into, heavy kettlebell training or CrossFit or whatever. But it's like, man, but you haven't even taught your body how to move. So, okay, let's take it back a bit. Let's do this. So that's what I'm doing. So it's basically like how to transition, from eating animal products into a plant-based diet, but at the same time, how to fix your body so you can then start training, whatever it is you want to train like, but working on those things that, as a trainer, most of the people are missing out. So
right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. Excellent concept. You started working on this before this shutdown, or okay?
Yeah.
Time to allocate towards it.
Yeah. So that's what I said. That's why it was the timing in that sense was perfect, because I was like, I gotta. Yeah, I was like, I need like 3 weeks so I can finish this. But it was hard, like coming home like at 9:30, and then
those wake up. Things though, man. It's hard.
Yeah. So that's why I really took advantage of the extra time, and so I'm almost there. And so I'm gonna. So I'll holler when I'm almost done.
Please do.
So you can give me some feedback, and
I'd love to.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, you're being productive. This is a good conversation. It's always thought-provoking talking to you, so that's good. And just for people watching, you put a lot of great content on Instagram, so I always enjoy looking at your feed. You put a lot of motivational stuff as well. You put a lot of just good content that's useful to people. Actually, another friend of mine on Instagram, Sean Thompson, I'm going to talk to him at some point. He's just a regular guy, but I love the content he puts up. He puts up a lot of different memes that are thought provoking and so forth. And I think that's the best use of something like Instagram. I was actually late to Instagram because I never really saw how I could use it. I would look at it and be like, well, what am I going to do? I'm just going to post pictures every day. I didn't really see an avenue to use it. I was using Twitter a lot more at the time because I could just type stuff and boom, put it out there. And what's funny is I got rid of Twitter and Facebook just because I got tired of all the negativity on Twitter and so forth. There's just like a big mess of everybody shouting at each other. And Instagram's the last one standing of all the social media I use. And I just figure out how to use it in a way that makes sense for my business and just put up some content, put up a training clip every once in a while. Just gives, and also a lot of times I'll read a bunch of articles and then I'll just take screenshots of the articles I read and share it in case other people are interested in what I read or they're curious. Where do you get this information? What do you do each day to keep on top of the information that's coming out? And a lot of people find that useful as well. So I think that there's always a way to use whatever medium you want to use in a way that makes sense for you. You don't have to just do what other people are doing. Like, oh, I need to get a six pack and take a picture every day. That's what people are doing.
And like some of the people that really work on this always say, you might be good with words. Okay, do that, do video, and talking, but you might be good writing. Okay, have a blog, write screenshots of your blog and send people to your blog to read more. And so, because a lot of people, I think they end up getting it wrong, thinking that they all should be models, actors, and no, just do what you're good at. Just play your cards, and that's. But yeah, I mean, because like I said, that's what I hear a lot of people at the gym. Because I'm constantly with so much people. People need, motivation. It's amazing to me. Like the last year, I dealt with so much people going through depression, and that it to me it was something new. Like I had to deal with so much people tell me, well, I've been suffering from depression, and I was away for a few months because I had to be medicated, and I'm like, man. And then it's one person, then it's two, and then it's five, and then you're like, man, a lot of people are dealing with this shit. You know? And
a lot of people have just been suffering in silence with that. They didn't really feel like they're like, oh, who am I to be depressed? I don't want to, it's embarrassing to talk about it to anyone. People are going to be like, why are you depressed? You have all this. I mean, it's just depression can be something really organic and just there's biochemical depression and the circumstantial depression. Circumstantial depression is a lot easier to deal with because it's based on circumstances. So, I mean, I shouldn't say easier is not the right word, but at least you know why you feel a certain way. But biochemical could be everything's going right in your life and you still don't feel good and you're frustrated by that. And you go to a professional and they say, well, let's put you on Prozac or Zoloft or something like that. And that's not a long-term solution for most people. I'm not going to say categorically that no one should ever be on medication because I can't take every unique situation to an account. But I would say the majority of people is you need to work with how your brain works. And I actually went to a therapist because I've dealt with depression throughout my life on and off, and I'm pretty good at staying on top of it. But I go through these bipolar type issues where I'm very euphoric and I feel on top of things and I'm being really productive and I feel great. My energy's good. My mood's good. And then the pendulum swings the other way where it's like, man, you just feel like this big weight on your back and you have to push against that. And the therapist I talked to said, she goes, look, when you feel in those lower points, using your words, there's lessons to be learned in those moments. So instead of trying to get out of it as fast as possible, because that's what I always do. It's like, I want to be optimal all the time. So how do I get out of this situation? That's what I think. She goes, there's lessons to be learned while you're in that situation. So just don't make it worse than it is. To figure out what those lessons are and then weave your way out of it, as opposed to, uh-oh, I'm feeling this way again. I got to feel that way. Or I'm feeling this way. How do I keep feeling this way? So I get it. I get it. A lot of people, that's why I speak about it myself, because a lot of people find it relatable. They go, wow, I wouldn't have guessed you feel that way. And I go, look, a lot of us feel this way. It's just, what are we going to do with it?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I always like to put stuff out there. And it's amazing how people that know me, people that don't know me, they send me messages saying, if that is so true, and or that's something I'm working on, and like you said, those are the silent wins that we get. It's like, okay, man,
Right.
that's so great. You feel so good because you made this person feel better. And at the gym, I do it. Like I always bring that up, so now they feel more comfortable talking to me about it, and not only talking to me about it. Like I created, and it's funny because I moved my gym to another location, and I opened at the end of January. So basically, I was open for a month and a week, and I had to close.
Wow.
But now, like, the vibe that we have now at the gym is like it's more about a more holistic approach, and a more it's more about the whole being and not just about training, that everybody started feeling comfortable talking to this stuff to other people and not just me. And so it's something that I'm really excited about, and I'm excited about getting back to it, because I started seeing the change in people, and during these 2 months, of course, because we've been in contact, like I've been able to see that it still continues, and that they're really open about this. So and so I think that's it's something that I've realized now, that I get an even a bigger boost by seeing that than when a client like loses an X amount of pounds, or gets stronger, or so yeah, it's you feel really good, because you really know now that you're changing that life, and not only the life of that people, of everyone around him. Because imagine him getting back to that house with depression, feeling like shit, feeling like that, and now you're feeling better, you're changing, that home. So yeah, I mean, it's really nice, and that's why I kind of moved that way. And like you said, you're seeing that a lot in my posts. I'm posting a lot of stuff, and 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 yeah, man, the feedback I get is amazing.
That's great. Yeah. People need to know that there's other people experiencing similar things, that they're not alone in whatever the situation is. And I think that's where social media and other mediums can be used really effectively, because not everyone is going to know people in their life that they can turn towards. So with that, that kind of stuff is really helpful. Well, that's great, man. Great talking to you. And
Likewise,
check out your page. Let me just push stop recording here.